will be available on the California Adult Education website. So for any reason you have to leave the meeting for whatever reason, or if you'd like to come back and review what the discussion or even share it with colleagues, you'll have access to be able to do so. So definitely check back on the California Adult Education website for the recording. So I will turn it over to Carolyn, who will get us started with today's conversation. Carolyn?
Great. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today for our jail ed meeting. Vicki Prater's been doing some research and has some information for all of you related to lost ADA, as well as information related to links and a network, another network opportunity that you might want to participate in. So Vicki, if you want to go ahead and share that information, that would be great. And Veronica, we may have to have you type some of this into the chat because I think there'll be a link to the links website.
Okay, hi, I'm Vicki Prater, and I'm an education programs consultant in the Adult Education Office. And I came a number of years ago from Milpitas Adult Education, where I was for about 20 years. And Milpitas, as you may know, has about, I think, currently the largest jail education program in the state. And I did get to participate in that in a while for a while. So I'm happy to be here to help with any questions I can and to share information. Veronica, could you show the first slide, please? Okay, now this is about lost ADA due to COVID-19. And I want to emphasize that this is only to the programs that receive the Adults in Correctional Facility funding, which is also called AICF. And we currently only have 17 districts or county offices of ed still using this funding. So this will not apply to everyone. I just want to clarify that. This is how adult ed aid used to be funded with average daily attendance. It's how K12 is still funded. And for some reason, jail ed is still funded this way. But in the time of disasters, pandemics, floods, mudslides, earthquakes, you can recoup at least some lost ADA. I'm not quite sure. There are formulas that our accounting department uses, but anyway, if you are an agency who does have AICF and you have lost attendance and you have not talked to our accounting department yet to see how you can recoup some of that, this link is for you to follow. And they have various formulas that they will use and they will help you. So that's about it. I know I have talked to 4 jail programs I know so far that have been going through this to get lost ADA recouped. Are there any questions on this?
Vicki?
Yes.
Just if we haven't gone there and looked yet, I don't want to ask questions that maybe they'll be answered there, but my impression was that our attendance was going to be calculated based on previous years and we didn't need to do anything. So is this different now?
I don't think that's true, Christy. I think you should contact the accounting people. I'm not positive on that, but I'd say it would be better to err on the positive side here.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Christy, this is Carolyn. Did you get some type of a communication from them?
Yes, this is, pardon? Yes, this is actually, I contacted Zandra, who's my contact for jail ADA. She is the one who every year computes what the next year's or the last year's ADA is going to be for jail ed. And she is not the person to contact for lost ADA. So she shared this information with me and gave me this link and said this is where people need to go.
Okay, and so Christy, I was wondering if you had received some type of communication that might be different.
No, it was preliminary conversations, I believe, back in April
Okay.
about this kind of thing, and it was just a informal conversation, if you will, at that time. So
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely follow up.
will do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Any other
Thank you.
questions about that? Okay, the other thing that I wanted to share today, I don't know how many people are aware of or take advantage of the LINKS network. LINKS stands for Literacy, Information, and Communication Systems, and it is a professional development website that is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Education, Office of Career, Technical, and Adult Ed, otherwise known as OCTAE. And they have some very good resources on there. And it's a very simple link. It is LINCS for links.ed.gov. And the reason I like links, they have lots of resources on there. And one of their main, they have, I think, 11 discussion groups or areas. And one of them that's featured is correctional and reentry education. They have ongoing chats or discussions that you can participate in, and there's some people who are on there almost daily. And I think it's nice because it's not just people from one state. I have noticed it's mostly East Coast and Midwest, but it's people from all over the United States, and they're all jail ed. They're not, I don't think they're prison, they're just jail ed. And I just participated briefly, I guess last week, in what they call a coffee break with this group, and they were sharing their experiences of what they're doing to deal with COVID-19. And it sounds like most of the country, even in the jails, isn't quite as shut down as we are. But in any event, you can get in the discussion group. You can go to the coffee breaks, and then there are all these people who are in the discussion who you can contact directly if you choose to. So I just think, especially during such a frustrating time as we're all in right now, that it would be maybe just another good avenue to interact with other jail educators and to find out maybe some ideas that you haven't used before. I said they have resources. I know they have at least a couple of publications about jail ed, and they have other groups as well that you might be interested in, that you can connect to jail ed to. They have English language acquisition, career pathways, reading and writing, and some others. So I just thought I would briefly talk about that. And the main thing, the thing that I like really about links, it's going along with OCTAE's mission to provide the field with more evidence-based practices in education. So evidence-based is research-based educational techniques or practices that have been vetted by seasoned teachers. So it's not something, casual, somebody just dreamed up like, oh, this might be a good idea. This stuff is based in research and practice. So that's about it for that. But I encourage you to go on that site and check it out.
All right. And, in this time when we're not able to go to professional development, go to conferences, there are these great resources on links. I know as a state director, we have our own discussion group right on links, and we're able to post questions, which is very similar to what Vicki was talking about with this group for correctional education. And there's also, if you're not a member of the Correctional Education Association, they also have regional conferences, and I guess another good source for professional development when it comes to jail education, especially in this time when things are really uncertain as to how to provide some of this support to the students that are in correctional education. And so with that, I'm wondering, what is happening in your correctional education programs? We know that some agencies are struggling to even have the local sheriff allow them to um, bring paperwork to students and go back and forth. So we'd love to hear some of your successes as well as some of your challenges, and then are happy to answer any questions that you might have. This is really for all of you to network and talk about your programs. So who would like to start?
Carolyn DeRossi, iPhone, raised their hand. You can
Okay.
unmute yourself.
Thanks. Yeah, I can't see all of the hands raised.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Joe DeRussi. I'm with the Monterey County Office of Education. We run the California Adult Education Programming in the Monterey County Jail in coordination with the Monterey County Sheriff's Department. And so after COVID-19, we entered into a partnership in which the county jail sheriff staff, using the guidelines around social distancing, pulled inmates on a daily basis into a classroom setting in which the teacher for our program zoomed in. The students all were issued a Chromebook in the classroom, and we proceeded to provide digital learning on 4 different platforms around the areas that we typically provide. So that went on for nearly 3 weeks. And then we had a recent outbreak, and so we closed down, but we do have reopening protocols to go back to that model. And then we, of course, have been able to purchase and partner with Edgenuity and Atlo to provide specifically lockdown units of laptops and technology to be able to provide service to our inmates.
Wow, that's great. Thank you for sharing. Who else would like to share? I might call on someone. I know Neil would have done that.
Carolyn. Oh.
Yes. Who's first?
But this-
John
Go ahead.
or Jody? One of you. You're both
Well,
J's. Jody, go for it.
Okay, I was just going to say I just typed in the in the chat just to share out, but right now we're unable to get into our jail program because of the liability. Our school won't take the liability on. The jail's okay with us coming in, but so that's problematic, and we're trying to figure out how to do the Zoom with the rotation that the jail has and getting the inmates moved into the classroom to do Zoom. So we're working through that. The bigger and probably a big concern for us because of the financial implications is we cannot assess for costs for either jail or our school. So we're trying to we're hoping we're too big to even really take on the remote testing at this time. We're hoping that will expand and be something we can look to.
Okay, thank you. John Werner, I know you started to pipe up earlier.
I did, and I was actually just checking the attendee list to make sure I didn't have one of my administrators from one of our jail ed schools, namely Visalia here, who would be better placed to speak to what's going on today, right now, since things shift so much. But we do offer jail ed in Tulare County and very small program in Kings County. That's through Hanford Adult. The Tulare County one's through Visalia Adult. We have backed off of going into the jail with everything, and I think are just trying to figure out how we get service provision back in. With our ESL and diploma, and we've been doing some I guess the best way to describe it's very low-level introductory CTE that's been really successful in the jail. But you know, it's just been tough to be in there, and frankly, most of our focus right now, and I this kind of with regret I say this, has been just on our main campuses, trying to get them rolling in a sustainable model again. And I think what's troubling to me is then things like our jail program kind of get a back seat of our attention, which it doesn't deserve that. And anyway, that's kind of where we're at.
All right, thank you, John. Nina, I see that you're in a state correctional facility in Kern County. You want to share what's happening with state corrections? So Nina says maybe she can't, doesn't have a microphone. So they're supporting the students primarily through independent study and pulling in small groups of students who are not in quarantine or isolation for testing and one-on-one support. Oh, Nina, I see that you're unmuted. Did you want to add on to that?
Yeah, I think I just got my mute off, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, it depends on the institution. So it really depends on the warden, whether or not they're allowing any kind of instruction to occur. My wardens allowed me pretty much free reign. So as long as we're social distancing and cleaning, we're able to, pull groups in. But I mean, I think since COVID-19 started back in March or April, and most of my teachers were put on, telework 4 days a week, then I think we did 43 CASAS tests in the spring, but they just given us access to do online CASAS testing, so we can pull students in. We just are training our staff to do that testing this week. So hopefully this fall we'll have more testing in place, but it's hard to do the independent study support when we're not getting clear assessments and getting, work back, because my teachers can't do their, their formative assessments without actually seeing students.
Right. Okay.
This is Keita Grinberg with Ukiah Adult School in Mendocino County Jail. Hi. And I was just going to share what's happening with us. The first few months, once the programs were all shut down in the jail, but we were able to continue doing independent study through paper packets. And then last month at some point, we were allowed to start holding classes again, just with a maximum of 5 students and mask, social distance. But that just lasted for a short while, and now the programs have shut down again. So again, trying to continue with independent study through just mailing in paper packets, which, there's some success there, and it's also limiting. And yeah, also was able to do some CASAS testing in the short time of seeing folks, but now that it's back to not in person, unable to continue that.
So, Kida, is it being shut down because of they have increased cases?
Yeah, so we have no cases in the jail, but in Mendocino County, the cases are going up. So it's in accordance with the county health orders. So the jail is, I'm pretty sure, and Christy, you can add on if I'm wrong, but the jail is taking their cues from the local county health officer.
Got it. Christy, did you want to add on?
No, Keita correctly explained that.
Great, thank you. Who else would like to share what's going on?
We have Lucy.
Oh, go ahead.
Lucy, are you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. So we have, as far as our jail program, we have 5 jails in Riverside County that we serve. And really not a whole lot has changed since the last time that I reported. But basically where we're at is that our county superintendent of schools, closed our site-based programs, including our jail program. And we were expecting to go back July 1st, and then we were actually extended to August 3rd. However, since we have a print shop program that is also an essential part of the sheriff's department in terms of all of their, providing all of their printed documents and education requests, manuals, you name it. And since we were planning to go back July 1st, some of the teachers returned on July 22nd, really kind of as a good faith, gesture to get back in there into the jail and to begin preparing for our return. And then on June 30th, we were notified that we were not going back July 1st after all, and we're extended to August 3rd. So I have had multiple teachers go to the jail site at different times, but it's really an area of great concern because, as is the case in a lot of jails, there are active COVID cases. There have been in Riverside County Sheriff's Department. They've lost 2 deputies early on. And during this process, we even had some of our staff, some of those staff who initially, tried to go back after we were closed. They tried to go back to set up materials for the students. We don't have any kind of online access, for our students. So at this time, Riverside County Sheriff has not given us the opportunity to have any kind of online instruction for our students. I did hear with interest during the last one of these network meetings that Monterey County does have a program that was just described a little while ago about with the Chromebooks and pulling the inmates into a classroom. But that's another part for us. Another obstacle that we're dealing with is that at the Banning Jail, which is the site that has the greatest number of programs, we have the print shop, we have construction, we have welding, along with ASE and workforce readiness. So the problem is that a few months ago, they started a construction project there and gutted the classroom. So we wouldn't even have any kind of opportunity right now to do any kind of remote instruction in the jails, aside from the fact that there is absolutely no inmate movement right now going on. So we do have, quite a few obstacles. In light of that, the teachers are still working from home. They're still creating instructional materials every week and working with updated lists of who's in custody still and who isn't. We're providing those instructional materials, working in collaboration with the Sheriff's Department to collect and decontaminate homework. And then we send out, like I said, new materials every week. So, again, we share that concern about the inability to do any kind of CASAS testing right now. I did reach out to Jay Wright and also to Colby, just to let them know where we stand and what our concerns are. So I was really happy to hear back from both of them, that we're going to be in conversation going forward. So that's, pretty much where we stand.
Okay.
I don't know if I can just chime in. This is Jennifer Barrett with Elk Grove Adult Ed.
Go for it, Jennifer.
All right. So our adult education program runs the 2 county jails in Sacramento, the one downtown and Rio Cosumnes Correctional Center. And like the experience of most everyone else, with the exception of Monterey County, we've had a really tough go of it. In part, our district has had everything was shut down starting in March, and through the end of June, our teachers were not allowed to go into the jail. as part of union. And, that was designed to keep them safe. Now, our district is going, as part of Sacramento County, has moved to remote education. And so there we are again, in a way. I mean, we don't have access to online learning. We have certainly, we've offered packets because Sacramento sheriffs were feeling very positive about their ability to keep COVID out. One of the facilities just wasn't even willing to deal with packets because they thought it was ridiculous. Why couldn't we be in there? Some of their service providers who obviously were not connected to the school district were there. Now, over the last few weeks, some of which started because of prison transfers, there have been not a lot, but some COVID cases. Inmates at the main jail and staff at Rio Grande Correctional Center. So I don't know, we're doing what we can. We developed 2 plans. Our goal is to be a presence, but our 2 plans, one was a hybrid plan and one was completely remote. And remote for most of our teachers means packets. We do have several of our vocational programs that have additional sheriff staff who can be the on-site person with our person working remotely with them to make sure that instruction continues. And those couple of programs are our welding program and our automotive program. We have software, we use Aztec software, and I was going to ask, who was it? Was it Tulare? I'm not sure about with Zoom. If the teachers are not in the classroom, is there a sheriff in the classroom with the equipment that's being used in there, or are they just monitoring it remotely? That would be important for us to know. We've had some initial interest in one of the 2 jails regarding Zoom, but we've got sand under our feet and everything changes. So we've got packets is the plan for as many programs as possible. And we've talked about having, if the teacher is in the office within the classroom with the door shut, could those students still access computers? We don't have an answer to that. My guess is no. We have a kind of a funny solution that only jail people would understand at our main jail, where we have small classrooms and the classrooms are glassed in. So to limit that between 8 to 10, have the teacher be outside the classroom on the other side of the glass with, watching in. I mean, it's crazy. So we've got that as a proposal as well. The sheriffs have agreed to it. They're taking the mattresses out from under the stairs where the teacher would be. And the teachers are all fine with it. Then what we would do is bring out people as individuals in an independent study type model, because our district is only allowing us to see people one-on-one. So I don't know what will be allowed. We may be down to just packets. They may allow us to have Zoom. It depends. The sheriffs are going through it too, because now that there are deputy outbreaks, COVID outbreaks, then, they may wind up being short-staffed and this would be difficult. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Who else would like to share, or does anyone have something they wanted to add on or answer Jennifer's question? Christina.
Actually, yes. Christina Carter with Contra Costa Adult School. And we service inmates for the Contra Costa Sheriff's Department in what was 3 facilities, which now they've, since the shutdown, have actually eliminated inmates, taken inmates from one of their facilities, and now we're only using 2 facilities. But right now, we're dealing with a lot of the same issues I'm hearing everyone else dealing with. We are doing packets. We're doing just packets. We pretty much started rolling those packets out about 6 weeks ago. It took us a lot of time, many hours to get ready to do that, because we had to completely figure out how to get digitize our curriculum. We did not have internet before the shutdown. We were not allowed to have internet in the classrooms. So we pretty much always operated with pencil and paper, flash drives. We were already offline. So we were already dealing with technology challenges. Many of our coursework, our curriculum, we realized was dated, so much so that it was hard to find digital copies even. So we were even hitting those kind of challenges of realizing that we didn't even have the ability to go online and order digital textbooks. So even being able to put the packets together, that's been a big challenge for us, but we're finally making headway on that and getting that to run pretty smooth as far as getting the packets put together and getting them ready to go out. Initially, we were not allowed on the premises at all. The Sheriff's Department has since allowed 4 of our staff members to be on the facility. But those have been our transition staff, not our teachers. So right now, the teachers are uploading the packets through our Teams folders. Our transition team prints them out, passes them to custody. Custody gets them to the students. One of the problems we're having right now with that is that there really is no consistency between the facilities or even between the modules. So once our transition team prints out the packets that are intended for the students, we have zero control from there as to how fast they get to the students, if they're getting them that day or if they're getting the packets 2 days later, or if they're getting the packets at all. So that part is, we haven't figured out how to really deal with that right now. We are trusting that they're going out as quickly as possible, but we really have no control as far as that whole process and how that's going. So that part has been really frustrating. At this point, our packets they're worth 15 hours a packet, which is the maximum amount of time we can give our students anyway per week. So we have been building our packets to be 15-hour packets. The challenges we've been having with the actual packets is just really trying to figure out how to provide content that's meaningful, but that students can navigate on their own, right? We have, as everyone, right, such a wide range of ability. You have maybe students in your class who finished 10th grade, which we know what that really means is they probably only finished 9th grade, because by 10th grade, they weren't even going to school anymore, right? So you have 9th grade level, but then you also in that same class may have someone who has 1 or 2 years of college. So now we're building packets, 1 packet at this point for all those students. We hope at some point to get to where we can individualize them a little bit more, but right now we're just trying to figure out that let's get these packets out and let's get them back in and take a look at the quality of work. So just lots of challenges just with the packets. And it's not even really remote learning like traditional K12 schools are doing. It's more of the old correspondence learning, where it's more of that, because we have no internet. They have no internet. They have no tablets. It's really the correspondence. It's really, I send to you, you complete the work, you send back to me, I take a look. So it's more of that. So it's really hard to figure out how we go forward with our students, having been forced to go backwards. So that's really where we are right now, and it's super challenging. One benefit that we have is we have a fantastic group of teachers, very dedicated, very committed. They are putting many hours And what we're finding, many more hours than they were putting in pre-COVID, right? Just trying to get this under control and get the processes down, putting in so many hours. Finding that it takes so much time to create the processes that we need to roll these things out, and then equally as much time to actually roll them out, or create one type of system of how we're going to track and process paperwork, and then realizing 2 weeks into it that this isn't quite sufficient, and then having to go back and start over again with the whole process. So I mean, we're in it for a while. What we're hearing is we're in it for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if we're next year the same time still dealing with this, and doing our remote correspondent learning with our students. So we are really trying to focus on not just what we're sending out to our students, but just really reinventing our program so that it can really thrive. And looking at this is that this really may be our new norm for quite a while. So we better work on getting it done and getting it done right. As far as the COVID cases within our facilities, we don't really know. They've been pretty tight-lipped about it. So we don't really know. We suspect that there may be some concerns, but they're being really tight-lipped. What we keep hearing is just that, no, you can't go on the facility and it's not looking good. But that leads me to think that we're in it for a while. And so, like I said, the same type of challenges, very, very frustrating, but just overall, we are just, when you think about the enormity of what we're doing, it's not as simple as sending packets out. What we are doing is we're reinventing our whole program, right? We're creating a whole new program that's remote learning, which is completely different than what we've had before, and trying to make connections with our students and engage them in a way that's going to be useful for them. Completely new territory for us. We're starting from the ground and building this program up. And so many different challenges I'm sure yet to come that we're not even aware of. So I appreciate the opportunity to come together and to hear what other people are doing. I know I didn't attend I think this is the third meeting. I attended the first one, not the second one. And at that time, when that first call, I had nothing. We were just like deers, caught in the headlights. We had nothing. We had started nothing. We were like nothing. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to hear what everyone's doing to not only help keep us motivated that we can do this and let's keep going, but I found it very helpful to get suggestions and to a window into what everyone else is doing to help us to, as we start to mold our program more and more as time goes on. So I really appreciate the forum. And so thank you for having it. That's pretty much all I have.
Christy, a couple questions. Jennifer was wondering is if you're doing high school equivalency or high school diploma or ABE, and what is your curricula base?
Wait a minute, I'm having trouble with my sound.
Yes.
Carolyn, were you talking to me?
Oh, yes. No, I was talking to Christina. So
Okay.
Christina, Jennifer from Elk Grove was wondering if this is high school equivalency or high school diploma.
Well, you can only do independent study for high school diploma, not equivalency.
Right.
You can do distance learning for either.
Right. So, and then Christina, she was also.
We do have
about your curricula base.
We do have high school equivalency, and we do have high school academics. Where exactly we're going with that, I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you. I really can't really speak to that right now. There's so many unanswered questions right now. I do know we're not doing testing either. We're not doing CASAS testing either because, again, we have no internet. We don't have the ability to go in and do any type of testing. Right now, what I do know is that the academics teachers and the independent study teachers are continuing with the course of studies that students may have already had. So they're still providing them as much of the curriculum as they can. But other than that, I can't really speak to where that's going specifically. We do have our CTE classes that are still going, which that is computer applications, culinary, and woodshop, which is very interesting. Because we have those programs, but again, we're completely remote. So right now it's really construction theory, culinary theory, and computers like theory, right? Computer literacy, I can pretty much, that can be taught with packets. But the rest of it, depending on how long we go, it's really going to be more theory based. And even though we have an articulation agreement with the Contra Costa Community College for students to receive college credit for completing the Microsoft Word portion of it, they can get two college credits for that. We can't move forward with that part of it because it will be theory. So, I mean, there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and, we haven't even had a chance to go back and look at the articulation agreement to see if there's anything we can do in that area, because again, we're still trying to build the basic, getting these packets out to students and the logistics of making sure that we have a hold too, a safety hold when students turn packets in, we can't even touch them for 72 hours. So, there are lots of other logistics that we're looking at and trying to move forward on that. So some of the questions around, the high school equivalency and how students will be given credit, I don't think we have a complete answer to those yet. We're just moving forward and seeing what we can get them and then what comes back. Because at this point we've sent out packets and we're getting maybe 15% of them back. So we're not even, we still have to deal with that part of it. What's going out, what's coming in. So we haven't even received enough of the student work back yet to determine what credits they will get towards high school equivalency, high school diploma. So we're still working on those kind of questions as well. So maybe next meeting I might have more information on that regards.
Thank you, Christina. One of the things that I appreciated that you said was that you're having to reinvent yourself and reinvent not yourself, but your program.
Right.
And I really think that is what's happening not only in jail education, but in adult education in general, that we are having to adapt to this situation and look at how we deliver instruction differently to really meet the needs of the students that we serve, whether they are incarcerated or able to come onto our campuses freely or able to have technology. And so we are having to think outside of the box and to think differently. So I appreciate how you stated that. That was well put. So, anyone else want to add anything in?
Hello.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, I'm in adult ed up in the Lassen Modoc Adult Ed Consortium way up in the northeast corner of the state. And we have a very, very small county jail. I think there's probably only about 20 people in there right now. And only 5 at this time are interested in any education. I haven't done a thing with the jail since March, mid-March. They're still not allowing any outside resource people into the jail at all. But we've had a lucky breakthrough here because they hired a staff person who's incredibly enthusiastic in helping with jail ed. He's hired for like reentry, education, and JAG for the jail. So we only spoke just a week ago, and he's willing to look into doing Zoom so I can teach from home to the students that are interested in. Not able to do any CASA testing. I'm just really, the rest of the folks in this meeting have been actively, accommodating for a while, but I'm just at stage 1 of thinking, okay, how can I do this? At this point, the ones he has are just going to be high school equivalency. What I had been doing more was work preparedness skills, because most of the time I didn't have that many people interested in high school equivalency. So I was doing job skills, communication skills, things like that. So I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do with the Zoom. And when I used the one room they had in the jail, which was shared with everybody else, mental health and lawyers and everything, I was only given 3 hours a week. Huh, that's a joke, isn't it? To work with the students. And if I can do Zoom, this new staff person would be in the room with the Zoom with them. So I don't know if I'm going to do one-on-one. I don't know if I'm going to do group. It's a new population than what I had before. We have a fast turnaround in our jail. So I don't even know who would be in the class. So it's a lot of I don't knows, but I'm glad that I do have somebody that at least I can work with and see what we can do.
Great. Yeah, it's wonderful to know that they've hired someone that can help be that liaison for you. So that's really good news.
Yes, I think I'm pretty fortunate with that. He's a young, enthusiastic go-getter. So we'll see what happens.
Great. Who else would like to add on or share? Just
Carolyn,
go ahead and unmute yourself.
Carolyn, there was a question about deputy presence or custody staff presence when students are in a classroom environment setting, whether it's you know, our more traditional model or where we're at now. And I just wanted to answer that. We would, per our jail rules, we always have custody staff present when students are engaged in class or anything. And we can't, because of our jail rules, and I know it's different from sheriff to sheriff, but we can't send devices out with inmates into their cells at all.
Okay. Does anyone want to talk about their experiences with their jail and any of those comments that John's added in?
I did have a question, and I don't want to butcher his name. Joseph, is it DeRossi or DeRossi? How do you say your last name?
It's DeRussi. You can go ahead and butcher it.
DeRussi? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you. So when you shared last time about how you're using Zoom to, to access the classroom, I remember how you described the students being brought in, with sheriff staff standing by. Excuse me. Today you mentioned that they have Chromebooks, and you mentioned Edgenuity and Adlo. Is that what you said?
Correct. Outlow is a closed, secure system that's used throughout the state in Ohio and in Louisiana. So that system has been vetted to allow inmates through a closed system to not get out to the internet for security reasons. The systems themselves are laptops that have been locked down to maximize security, plus the new equipment that we'll be moving in as soon as we have access to the new jail is designed specifically to operate within that facility. And so what typically happens is we set up a secure Wi-Fi network within the jail that only permeates within the room. Mm-hmm. Work on that with the sheriff's staff to vet that it's secure. And then the teacher will Zoom in with an instructional paraprofessional and myself. And then we use digital learning platforms, including Edgenuity, Virtual Job Shadow, Career Ready 101, WorkKeys, ICEV. And then we circle around and we have a milestone program so that inmates, when they complete their pieces of their program, they get 7 days off their sentence. And so right now we're because we had some outbreaks, we've had to shut down, but we were operating, bringing our students into our secure space and Zooming in on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for 4 hours a day. And that was the plan all along, because we run a reduced summer program. So we're also I just hired a new paraprofessional. The sheriff is, in our county, is committed to full rehabilitation. These programs have shown great reduction in recidivism across the board, both in Ohio and in Louisiana. And so we're very interested in providing incentive for not only our sheriff staff, but also for, you know, the students that we serve who, you know, most of them are really trying to get out of the cycle of poverty. They're trying to earn a living wage upon release. And, you know, they're all trying not to come back. And
Right.
so, you know, in a short period of time, we've had some success. This is not easy, and it's been an immense struggle. And in our county, a lot of our inmates were released. And so when COVID hit, we had 200 plus inmates released. And then many of those inmates we were working with, so we provide support for them upon release, including issuing them a Chromebook and a MiFi hotspot, which we had procured for them to continue their studies. And so I'm operating now at a portable county office of ed, and I have teachers and staff continuing to work with students through the distance ed model. So, and it's a Monterey County Office of Education through the Monterey County Jail.
Okay. All right. I was just curious because after the meeting, when you mentioned it, I, you know, had a meeting with our inmate services manager in the sheriff's department. And she, you know, she runs the inmate training and education programs. And she perked up when I mentioned that, you know, that Monterey County Office of Ed is working with Monterey County Jail, and that you do have some, you know, some online instruction available through Zoom. So I have your name now. I'll reach out to you after our classrooms, because our classrooms still have to be finished, and once the classrooms are back up and running, just for future reference, because at least I know that Riverside County Sheriff's Inmate Training and Education Bureau is interested in being able to provide an online model.
Yeah, so we have a lot of collaboratives working in the county jail, including GEO, and so we all work very closely together. ResCare is another funded program through the EDD. They provide transition, and so it's been because Sheriff Bernal has been so open to what we consider to be actual rehabilitation, because we've handled a lot of the security for a year regarding the technology and haven't had any breaches, and we work closely with them. It's been a productive partnership, but still a challenge. I mean, listen, right now we're shut down. So has the outbreaks increased, even though the system and the program was working from a distance learning model and working fine? If they're not going to bring any inmates, I'm at a standstill. I think the magic of our program was when people were released, we were able to continue to work with them specifically on finishing their high school diploma, getting them jobs, right? And then also providing warm handoffs to those social services in our county that are extremely meaningful, especially healthcare, medical. You know, if you need daycare for your jobs, you know, there's nothing right now, but before this happened, right? And those are all gaps that need to be addressed with inmates so they don't return.
Right. Thank you.
All right, we have about 5 minutes left. So thank you. I just want to thank everyone for participating. I want to encourage you to tap into the links network that Vicki talked about earlier in this meeting, so that you can perhaps connect with others in other states. And if there aren't any other questions, or anyone else want to add anything, Veronica?
Carolyn, there actually was one more question from Jody, and I believe it's addressed to Joseph regarding the closed network he mentioned. She wanted to repeat that. Yeah, so I was trying to go ahead and put the link in the chat box. I had a little trouble with that. It's Atlos Systems, and if when I get off the phone, I can go ahead and send the email link to the company. And so Edgenuity is the curricula service provider. They handle everything from basic all the way up through college prep. And then Atlo has a number of solutions, both digital, portable through a portable lab, and also lockdown testing rooms that they've put into play both in Louisiana correction facilities and also Ohio. And so
you know, I'm not sure I've had an original idea in the last 20 years. I just copy people that getting the job done and doing, you know, great things. And so the folks in Louisiana and Ohio, I think, have done a tremendous job. So I'll go ahead and pass that along, but it's Atlo Solutions.
I had another question for Joe as well. This is Kita in Mendocino County. And I was just really curious where the funding is coming from for all of that amazing reentry support.
Well, part of it is we have a lot of programs operating already in Monterey County, and so when you think of the program for GEO, which is a nonprofit that operates in the prison, they handle a lot. Monterey County Probation Department partners with, you know, the Department of Employment, the EDD, with companies like ResCare that do on-the-job training and job placement. And I think having a lot of these folks that have traditionally maybe not operated in conjunction and coordination to address gaps, under the new sheriff kind of made that a priority for everyone to work together. And so also having the County Board of Supervisors address certain social issues that are probably, you know, have not been a priority for some time in our county. Also having a United States Congressman support, you know, some social issues, all of it, you know, plays into it. But the sheriff will not allow people to operate in the facility now unless there's coordination and collaboration. And so as we get out, or as inmates, you know, are released, it's important that we provide every opportunity that we possibly can. I mean, there are challenges, you know, Section 8 housing, there's a waiting list. So, you know, drug treatment programming is not great. But for us, you know, we leverage KAP funds. We leverage a lot of private grants. We operate a lot with nonprofits in the county to provide services for a lot of our inmates.
Thanks. Sounds like there's real leadership.
Well, we also, you know, our county, so our KAP budget is $466,000 annually, and all of that, those funds are coordinated and directed towards the inmate and inmate release program. And then Hartnell College, through our consortia, our KAP consortia, they also operate in the county jail. So we utilize a lot of the same resources and an effort to, you know, work collaboratively and find the best fit for the students in there. So we had I think 3 community colleges complete, 3 community college courses completed successfully over the last year there. And that's a real testament to, you know, Ana Gonzalez at Hartnell College, and you know, she sent staff in. They're now using Canvas and looking to use some of our technology to deliver that remotely.
Thanks.
Okay, we have reached our hour together for this jail network call. There is one more question I see in the chat. Oh, Mitch just answered it, so great. We are covered there. I have also included in the chat a link to our upcoming regional network meetings. Now, these meetings are for CAP, and they are across 6 loose regions, ranging from the northern part of California down through San Diego, and we have 6 different dates that we have outlined there. So definitely feel free to register for those regional network meetings. A description for what the different consortia that are involved in those network meetings are listed at the bottom of the registration, and they are CAP specific, not necessarily specific to jail ed, but another opportunity for us to come together and engage in meaningful dialogue about what we are experiencing in adult education as it relates to COVID-19, and be able to share resources as well as successes and challenges that we are encountering. So just to have a great dialogue. We'll also have our partners on that call. So we'll have CASAS there. We will have West Ed regarding college non-credit data reporting. And then we'll also have OTAN at all of the regional network meetings. So they will be available to provide, answer questions, to provide resources, and then access to the different training opportunities as well as resources that they have put together in response to COVID-19. So definitely be sure to register for those regional network meetings. They begin on August 10th and they run through August the 26th. So that is all that I have for now. Thank you all very much for your time and your engagement. in today's regional network meeting. We said that we would do these quarterly, so the next one would be in October. So be on the lookout for an invitation to the next jail network meeting. And then also if there are any specific agenda items that you would like to put together or resources that you would like to have disseminated to the group prior to the regional network meeting, be sure to send those to CAP tab once you receive the invitation, and we'll be sure to get those resources or agenda items compiled prior to the start of the meeting. So thank you all very much for your time and your participation, and everyone have a great rest of the day.